sport.
Yep. Always, man. Yep.
I don't know what it is, just by being who we are and doing what we do, it seems like some people like it, some people hate it, but a lot of people feel a certain way about it.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's a democratic country, right? That's the thing because I grew up in Vietnam, and I think I'm qualified to say that I understand what a dictatorship looks like, right? So, for example, let's say, okay, yeah, you can say this, you can say that. It's freedom of speech, man,
Yes.
right? And of course, now when you think about it, okay, you look back in history, right? I mean, from human right, voting right, whatever you name it, copyright. When you have the word right in it, somehow, unfortunately, you have to fight for it. It's
Yes.
not automatically there,
That's right.
right? Something obvious, right? Um, and I don't know. I think like I have always been speaking up for the GSCC. Last week, when there's a member make a complaint about social about the tracking on social media, I actually didn't like it, and
Stay close to the mic.
I reached out and I said this thing is not helping anybody. Okay, it's only making us appear even more divisive, and it's not going anywhere. I am a big fan of the formal complaint, right? You do it in a diplomatic way, right?
So, guys, before we go any further,
Yeah,
I know we're just starting off talking about politics,
yeah,
the politics
yeah.
in IGP dog sport here in
Yeah,
Canada. Annalie's talking about the GSSCC, that's the German Shepherd Schutzen Club of Canada. And we're having some political disagreements right now, which is all part of a democratic system,
yeah.
of a free market system that we live in here, thankfully. And we're going to get into all of that, but let me dial it back and let's talk a little bit about my guest of honor today, the one and only Ann Lee. So, Ann, who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm a dog trainer, just like yourself, right? A
Hey, just so
breeder.
you know, no, just before you continue, I'm going to put subtitles on you, just so you know.
Sure, no problem, no problem at all. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a breeder, a dog trainer,
Yeah.
a competitor, right? And just trying my best every day to do a little bit better with my dogs and help them to show themselves out there, right?
So, guys, the reason I have Ann Lee here is Ann Lee is currently the vice champion of Canada. He came in second place at this year's Nationals. And last year, he was the champion, the Canadian champion with his dog Bond. So that means he came in first place. This year, he will be on our WUSV world team. So he's not on the all breed team with me, he's on the German Shepherd team. And he's going to be representing Canada on the German Shepherd team with his dog Bond. I've known Ann for the last couple years, and he's a fantastic guy. I enjoy spending time with him. I find him very insightful as a trainer, and yeah, I decided, you know what? We have a lot of good conversations, and we have a lot of mutual interests right now, especially as it relates to the organization of IGP here in Canada, as well as training. We train together now a fair bit. So I said, man, it's time to get him on the podcast. Let's
Yeah.
have a conversation for everybody to see.
Well, thank you for having me here. It's like that
Just
is
stay close to the camera, buddy.
that is the thing. Like one of the biggest problem in this dog sport is that okay, my method is right and yours is wrong,
Yes.
right? So it is it's to me it's a very good thing and also interesting that when we train together, because we train dogs like there's so many things we do it differently,
Yes.
right? But why can't we just all get along, right? And I think and I hope that it will actually how say it, set an example, right? So I hope that people could get along a little bit better in this sport. Right?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that look. Let's not pretend. We all have an ego. I think if you're a professional, if you take what you do seriously, if you put your heart and your soul into what you do, to pretend that there's no ego attached to it is idiocy. we all have ego to some degree or other. It's being able to put that ego aside for the greater good. So I'll give you guys an actual example. All right. So, um, Anne and I have competed twice against each other in the nationals. This is our second nationals, and in both nationals, he outscored me in the track by approximately, I think, 5 or 6 points.
Yep.
5 or 6 points in both of them, right? Um, and now this is 2 times it happened. So what am I gonna say? Am I gonna blame Anne? Am I gonna blame the judge? Am I gonna blame, God? Or am I gonna say, this man might know something I do not know about tracking, or maybe he is doing something that I did not consider properly in my training. So of course, guys, we track together now. I don't know, like fuck it. How many mornings have we tracked together now? I don't even know. It's horrible. We wake up super early.
Yep.
It's not my thing. I'm not a morning person, but for sure, I'm seeing a difference in the dog.
Yep.
And
Yep.
but that's me saying, look, the guy is consistently outscoring me on the track. There's something here for me to take from him.
No,
It's not,
and I respect you a lot for that.
yeah.
I respect you a lot for that, because a lot of people, they just will never take it. Right.
And I think this. So like you're talking about why can't people get along? I think for a lot of people, they almost take it personally when things don't go their way.
Yeah.
Or when someone's doing better, and instead of again taking personal responsibility, they
Yeah.
want to go and blame their dog, blame the weather, blame whatever, instead of saying, well, maybe this handler has something that I don't have, or maybe they're doing something in a better way than I'm doing it. So let me see, at least see, and then you can decide after that, is it right for you, is it
Yeah.
not right for you?
Or they just simply work harder, right?
Yes.
More consistently, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, I made a post probably a couple of weeks back, and I said, what sportsmanship is about, understanding that, what, you're not the only one who deserves to win, right? Your fellow competitors, they work as hard or even harder than you. So, like, sometimes it's hard to swallow, right? But you know what? Just smile, congratulate the winners, and go home and figure out, what did I do wrong,
For sure.
right? And try to improve on it.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I agree. I think it was. I mean, how obviously you had a really good nationals. How did you feel it went? Like, what was your takeaways from it?
Well, I mean, of course, you want to be on that tough spot on the podiums, right? But also, it's about like personal record, right? So last year, Bond got 263, and he won the national, and this year he finished second, and he got 282. That's a jump of 19 points. Of course, that's a lot of, the difference in the condition of the tracking and this and that. But still, overall, I could see that the dog improved, right? And myself as a handler, I learned a lot over the last year, and I try to, improve the dog and myself as well. And so if you look back, like, like when I look in his scorebook, right? Every championship he has been in up until today, he jumped by 10 points, 9 points every time. And I'm really happy with that trajectory.
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
pretty good
Yep.
trajectory. I was saying it to you, and we were talking a little bit. You're going to be at the WSV October 1st.
Two
That's
six. Yep.
yeah, the in Meppen.
Yep.
And that's a big competition. That's probably the granddaddy of them all. And you're going to be in that one. And I think, and I said it to you already, I think you can win. I think you could be the
Yeah.
first Canadian to bring it home.
Well, like I said, like right now, so this is something you probably don't know about me. So when I enter any competition, I try not to know who's in it. Right? Is how hard I work every day, and I'm gonna do the right things by my dog. Right? Um. So let's say right now I try not to think about the WSB. I don't want to think about it. Um. So for me, very simple. The dogs just get back from the national. Long trip, the flight. So now I gotta make sure that he's happy, healthy. I actually train him less now, right? Because for example, I think for nationals, world championship, all the dogs in there, they are good. Not one bad dog in there, right? So sometimes you got to step back and put yourself as part of the bigger plan and just map it out. What makes sense, and just stick to it. Try not to think about it too much. So right now, I know that I have a very a very good dog, and I want to do the best that I could to see that dog on trial day, right? Because sometimes the pressure of the big competition, you burn your dog out before you get there. Right?
Yes, I know this very well.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, guys, we're talking about the sport of IGP, formerly known as Schutzhund. And this is a sport, again, I always feel the need to, because I understand that not all the audience knows what we're talking about. This is a dog sport that has 3 phases. We have tracking, we have obedience, we have protection. All 3 phases are scored out of 100 points. And this is a sport that it was originally invented for German Shepherds. Now there are many breeds participating, but still the primary breed that is used in this sport is the German Shepherd, followed by the Malinois, the Belgian Malinois. And then, of course, there are Rottweilers, Dobermans, so on and so forth. So just so you guys know what we're talking about, I can't get into all the nitty gritty of it. If you want to look into the sport a little more, you can check out my channel, or you can Google the sport and find out all the information about it. But me and Ann Lee both have the sickness of being interested in this sport, and we spend a lot of time doing this sport. And this is not something that we do professionally. The sport is not a professional. I can speak for myself. I
Yeah.
don't know. For me, it's not a
Pretty much the
professional
same here,
endeavor.
yep.
Yes, it's a hobby. I truly enjoy it. It's a passion, and we are both professional dog trainers, in that we train pet dogs, maybe service dogs, so on and so forth. But we are not commercially involved in IGP. For us, IGP is a passion project.
If you can't make it here to train with me in person, the good news is you can train with me online. I spent years perfecting these online training courses. From puppy to adult, from pet to working dog, we have courses for all of you.
Tell me about your, like, where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Vietnam,
Okay.
right? I came to Canada when I was 18.
Uh-huh.
It's all about horses for me. It's all about horses for me, right? And like I worked with the horse racing in Woodbine, right?
So in
Woodbine
Vietnam, did you do horses?
Yes. When the French came to our country, they brought horse racing with them.
Who? When who?
French.
When French. Oh, when
Yeah,
the French came.
Yeah.
Okay.
The,
Well, that's
colonial.
back in the 60s.
No, that's 100 years ago.
100 years
100
ago.
years ago, more than
Okay.
100 years ago. Right?
Okay.
And then my great grandfather was among the first Vietnamese horse owner at the
Really?
time, right? And then it's passed on to my grandfather, my dad, myself, all my cousins. So I went to Canada, and like my first goal was to get into horse racing, right?
So you were in horse racing in Vietnam.
Yep.
Like, what did you do there? Like, were you a trainer or a rider?
I was no, just running around after my dad.
Okay.
My dad was a trainer, and he also the president of the racetrack.
Oh, really?
Right. And it's funny because you asked me that question, okay? Like, my dad, he passed last year, right?
I'm sorry to
And
hear it.
now when I think about it, I don't know how he did it. Okay. So communism, socialism, there's no gambling.
Really?
Yeah. At least not in public, right?
Okay.
So when the South fell, the communists came in, they closed down the racetrack right away in 1975. I don't know how my dad could convince the government to let him reopen the racetrack with gambling.
Money, money, money.
Right. And then it lasted until 2001 when we left the country. I think a couple of years later, they shut down the gambling.
Really?
Right? And guess what happened?
What?
The sport died.
Did it?
When there's no money, no sport could ever last.
You came to Canada.
Yep.
You become a racehorse trainer?
Stay in Montreal for a while, then move to Toronto. went straight in the racetrack, working there, galloping horses, grooming horses, you name it, do it all,
So
right?
you start as a groom? Is that how you start?
From the bottom. I
From the
started as
bottom.
what we call a hot walker,
Just a
right?
laborer.
No, so when the horse come back from the track, right?
Yeah.
After the gallop in the morning, they get hot. So you gotta walk them and cool them down,
Sure.
right? And that's why I'm so much against people walking the dog breeding hard. Just throw them back in the trailer,
Yes.
right? Walk them, cool them down, right? And then move up to groom, and then move up to exercise rider, do all kind of stuff, groom a horse, right? And I'm always proud to say this is that we were good enough to compete in the Queen's Play, the 150th Queen's Play, and the Queen and Prince Philips were there.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So
As a groom or as
yep, as a group. Yep.
Okay.
So and then I moved back to Montreal to be a bit closer to my family. Started something brand new. Joined the show horses community. Again, started out as as a groom, move up to bond manager, and then I learned. And again, I'm really proud to say that I learned really fast, right? And then before I knew it, I started coaching people in both show jumping and dressage.
So so when you say show horses, you're talking about
Jumping, dressage. Yep.
jumping dressage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, had a bond there, and it's like destiny, right? So I have always wanted to have a dog. Didn't know what breed, you know. At the time, I was thinking, thankfully, I was thinking like, oh yeah, Doberman, Border Collie, whatever it is, right? So I was sitting having lunch with a friend of mine, and then I saw there's a, like because we have a group for the, equestrians in Montreal, right? And that's a girl that she posts a litter of German Shepherd was born in her barn, no paper, like just backyard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just texted her and I said, hey, I want a puppy, right? And this is okay. Do we have time for this?
Yeah, yeah.
This is a fucking
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful story, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, okay, sure. I wanted a puppy. Can I go see the puppy now? So I drove for like 2 hours. I saw the puppy. The puppy was like 7 weeks old. I didn't know anything about dog house. I didn't know anything. So I like, okay, I put a deposit. The puppy was like $800 backyard, So and I get too excited. I say, can I pick up the puppy tomorrow? At 7 weeks old, right? I mean, now I'm a breeder. You wouldn't let the puppy go at that age, right? No vaccines.
Oh.
And she's
yeah.
like, hey, you know what? I give you $50 off so you can do the vaccine yourself.
Okay.
I get all excited. I drove all the way back there the next day. I grabbed the puppy with me, didn't even have a crate, put her on the front seat,
Yep.
right? Put her on the front seat, have no crate, no food, nothing ready for her. Come back, put her in a basket like a freaking cat, right? The first night she was sleeping on my head. And all my employees at the time, they're like, this dog is gonna be a disaster. Because before that, I have an employee. She has a lab. She had a lab, and I love that dog so much. So I said, you know what? Every time you go on vacation, I'll keep the dog for you. So I kept the dog for her for about 2-3 times. Then one day I found out that she went on vacation, but she didn't give the dog to me because I fucked it up.
Really?
Right? I was like, sit, and the dog didn't sit. I like, good boy, those typical pet owner come in your door every day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they say, okay, this dog is gonna be a disaster. But as everything that I do, I get a dog, and then I say, I believe that the animal is the reflection of yourself, right? And I didn't want her to be like like a joke for everybody. So I went on YouTube and teach, how to teach the dog to sit,
Yeah.
right? About a month later, just all pet stuff, right? A month later, she's not even 3 months old yet. I can put her in the downstairs at the end of the barn and doing store here, and she will stay there. And those people who make fun of me say, can you train my dog? Right?
Yeah.
So I said, oh, okay, this is cool. And the horse racing guy in me, I'm always competitive, right?
Yes.
So I like best working dog breeder in Canada, right? So I get my next puppy just a couple of months later. and try to make a good sport dog. Now this time with paper and everything, right? So fantastic
Do you want to
dog.
say who you got the dog from?
No. So then I started to do all kind of stuff, like healing, all the talk, those big talk, like big fat like that from those sport gear, Ralph, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then start to play with the dog. Now when I think about it, like probably it was all wrong, right? And then when she's about 10 months, the grip was horrible, like
The
horrible.
grip, the grip was not
like,
good.
like that's it, right?
Who was the father?
Right. So I have a very best friend, and she loved the dog, right? And she had the drive to be a police dog, very good drive, right?
Yeah.
So I said, like maybe I let her go and be a police dog, and then my one of my best friends say no, she's staying with me. So I said, okay, I'll take her. So I did the that's when I'm crazy, when I really like something, I'm crazy about it, right? So I just stay up like every night to do the research pedigree, and there's a horse guy in me, like okay, the mother side is more important, so keep clicking on it and go back to one dog after another. So after a while, and then I really love one dog, and her name was Bora Excalibur Europa,
Yeah, I know the name.
right? And if everybody that knows her, she is the mother of the famous bee leader Yanaka,
Yeah.
right? Boli Bira, everything, right? So I said I try to get the dogs that is the closest to her. So I sent a message to many people, right, on Working Dog, right?
Yeah.
Most of them never answer me.
Yes.
Most of them never answer me. So I came across a girl named Monika Kisela in the Czech Republic, right? And she agreed to sell me my first dog. It's a puppy. At the time she was 4 months, and she is the daughter of Dinosaur, from Eisenkreuz,
Yeah.
and Dixa Yanaka. Okay, and
Okay.
Dixa is Bora's daughter.
So it's interesting. You looked at the high performance dogs, and like a horse guy, instead of just assuming it's magic, you looked at the pedigrees.
Yep.
You followed the pedigrees back
Yep.
to the dog that you determined to
Yep.
be the originator of these types of dogs you
Yep.
liked. And then you hunted down a puppy
Mm-hmm.
that was close to that female that you determined was like the root of these dogs you liked.
And the funny thing about it is that another thing is from my horse experience, and that is, it doesn't always work out for you, but if you hang in there long enough, greatness will come back, right? So I get that first dog. She didn't turn out great.
Yes.
Beautiful dog, right? Beautiful dog. Weak drive, weak full drive and everything, right? So then about 3 months later, she had a sister. The older sister. That just get a BH and did a protection title.
Wait. The one that didn't work out was that puppy from Europe that you're talking about.
Didn't work out.
Okay, so you bought her from Europe. You imported her.
Imported her over. Didn't work out at all, right?
People need to realize this happens.
Yeah, but I didn't quit on the lie either.
Yes.
I said, you know what? She has an older sister at the time. She's get a BH and get the protection title. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna stick to what I believe, right? So I said I want that female, and at the time Dinosaur was very famous at the time. So,
Yeah, I remember.
So I planned to breed her to Dinosaur as well. But as I did that, I continued to do my research online, right? And I came across a dog that won the 2017 BSB Irk, right?
Say his full name.
Irk de la Hutte du Berger. It's funny. It's French though.
Is it French?
Yeah, he was born right at the border of Germany and France.
I always call him Irk de la Hutburger.
Yeah. Right. So I came.
We'll put his name below.
So I came across that dog, and because I was such a big fan of the D litter Eisenkreuz, right? And it beat Debbie at the BSB
Yes.
by 1 point, right? So I came across this dog, and I watched him on YouTube, and I was like, holy, what a machine, right? And Monica, to her credit, I texted her the next morning and I said, what do you think about it? How is he compared to dinosaur? Right? And a lot of people might disagree with me because the dealer is fantastic, but to her credit, she said he's much better. And I said, well, then change the plan and bring Berisa to it, right? So the mating took place. We shipped her over. She gave me my first litter, the A litter, and our friend Ian Thompson,
Yes.
Apollo, is from that litter,
That's a nice dog.
right?
Yeah.
And then I kept Ali, right? By the time she was 4 months, well, at the time I didn't know much, but by the time she was 4 months, I said, this puppy is fantastic. I never seen anything like that. I don't know if you saw Ali, but like, she is pretty special, right? So I was like, I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna call this guy from Germany. And I called Mark Christine and I offered to buy it.
Irk.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. And I remember I was talking to him, and I have the phone. I'm gonna show him my property, okay, because this is his champion, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you know what? It's destiny. At the time, he just had a newborn child,
Yes.
and he said, "Let me think about it." I said, "You know what? Don't think about it. I'm gonna show you how serious I am. I'm flying over, right? I flew there. I landed in Frankfurt. Drove all the way there. Almost died on the highway, right? Because me on the highway on the autobahn, right?
Yeah.
Brought it over and stop in Czech Republic to saw Monica at the time, and she has a little female, the bicolor female. And to be honest with you, I didn't know dog much back then. I said, oh, this puppy is kind of ugly, small, right? And she said, that's the best female that I have. And I said, oh really? I didn't even look at the female much, right? And then she came out. Is insane. She was a bomb.
In the work.
Yep. She came out. She was so powerful, so fast, and like so confident. Like everything was excellent, right? And I said, well, then sell it to me. Then she said, no. This is the best dog that I have. I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it to you. Boom. A year later, she changed her mind. A year later, she said, okay, if you want her, I'll send her over. And it's Kira. Right, so when Kira came over, the choice was simple, right? I brought Kira to it, and it ended up with Bond and the B litter.
Wow.
Right.
This wasn't too long ago. This was like
Nope.
4 years ago.
No, not long ago. Not long ago. So, but to be fair, my horse experience helped me a lot.
For
Right?
sure. Pressure release.
Yeah, because so as pet trainers, you know that too. Like, so what do we have in dog training? We have classical conditioning. Okay, you do it for me, I'll pay you a cookie.
Yes.
You do it long enough, the dog loves it.
Yep.
Right? But the dog loves it alone is not enough. It's
Yes.
not safe. So you got to put pressure on it. And not only that, you love it, you have to do it.
Yes.
Right? And in order to make the dog feel like he has to do it, then you got to put pressure, that escape avoidance.
Yes.
Right? So these two things literally cover the whole dog training industry.
Yes.
You can either teach the dog to go retrieve the dumbbell or do the agility course. It's the same, right? It's how you play with it. Of course, the talent of the dog, and also the management.
The devil is in the details.
Yep, every little thing, how you play a little bit here and there, right? And how to put pressure and balance it out with your positive reinforcement.
Yes.
Right? And then like hopefully it works this time and show up on that day.
That's right.
Right? And so it's not long ago, and then I didn't want to compete at all.
Yeah.
At the time, I was happy with the system, right? I bred some dogs, keep the good ones, doing some nice training to continue the breeding. When they're ready, send her to my friend in Europe, get the titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get them bred in the with the like if you there's always good
dogs,
young
yeah.
stars coming up, right?
Yes.
And bring new blood in Canada.
So send them to Europe, get them trained, get them bred.
Right,
and
I
bring
put a
them
lot
back.
of foundation in it, right?
Yes.
And then didn't know anybody, didn't belong to any club, and this is something that in my own experience, and that's why I like to put this experience to the GSCC as well, is that at the club level, it's not very inclusive.
Our club system,
Yeah.
and we're gonna jump back to your origin
Yeah.
story because I don't want to get stuck
Yeah.
in politics. We're gonna talk about this
Yeah.
after. The club system for dog sport is broken.
Yeah.
It has to be fixed.
Right.
But let's say you
Yeah.
you didn't find any clubs that
Yeah.
were particularly welcoming.
So I just keep training. I just keep training. I just keep training. And you know what? And this is, I swear to God, like extremely, extremely honest about this, and that is when you started out doing something and you saw on YouTube, for example, at the time, you watched, let's say, Debbie, Dina, Body, Plenty, Ear, um, all the famous dogs, right? When they
Yeah.
do the stuff that they did, right? And then you have a young dog at home who could do it.
Yes.
So it's just like every young handler out there, you film it, you put it on social media. Look how good my dog is.
Yes.
It's there's nothing about fame or glory or ego there, right? But then I've just found out, holy shit, this dog sport is complicated. People are like, oh, it's all video, that guy is bullshit and this and that, right? And then there's a good friend of mine, his name is Ian Robson, and I consider him as a brother, right? So he texted me and said, hey buddy, good job, what you doing there? And I'm like, thank you very much, right? So he said, can I come train with you? And I'm like, okay. So the next day he showed up. He showed up, and I didn't know the guy, so he slept on the field. He put his tent up,
Oh yeah.
and he stayed there for like 2 weeks, right?
Nice.
We started training and everything, right? And then he went back home, and then I think a week later, he came back again. I said, you know what? I get a room for you. Come on in. And he stayed for like a month, right? And then, well, thanks to him, because he's in the sport.
Yeah.
But then he put a lot in my head, like, you know what? I went back to my club, and people give me shit like, who's that guy that you training with,
Yes.
right? And it's not like, oh my God, it's kind of, killing me a little bit, because like, what have I done to you guys? I just want to show my dog. And now, like, it's like all the talk and everything, right?
Yes.
So I remember when I trained Ali, and when I decided to send Ali to Europe for titles, Ian was furious because he wanted me to try the dog to show
Mm-hmm.
the people that he get in,
Sure.
arguments with, right? And I still didn't do it. I sent Ali over there. Then, well, let's put everything out there. It's funny. Like, I love this thing. So then it's just keep coming. They keep poking me everywhere.
Who? Like the
Like-
dog, not individuals. Like you're talking about, like the other, like Canadian dog sport handlers.
Yep.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
making remarks about
Yeah,
you.
like, oh yeah, he's an idiot and this and that. Like,
Yeah,
what the hell? Like, or his training is like, like gimmick. Try to take all the toys, all the motivation away. The dog's not gonna work for him. He's gonna fail on his ass. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, no, now I'm gonna do it. Now I'm gonna do it. So I trained Bond at the time, right? And
Who's Bond's mother?
Kira, the female I just told you, Kira Yanaka.
Kira is the one you took from the breeder Monica.
Yep.
The bicolor female, the little bicolor
Yep.
female that you thought was shit, and then you saw her work.
Yep.
Okay, this makes sense. So
Yep.
Bond is bicolor.
Yep.
Yes.
So I get Kira. So I started training Bond, and you know what? That is a very sad part, because instead of being supportive, being nice to one another, especially to a person you never met before,
Yes.
right? People have to say negative things right away, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to, and I'm sorry, but at the time I have no friends in the dog sport, right?
In Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the club next door. I didn't even know the location,
Mm.
right? So I talked to Monica. I said, you know what? Can you book a BH for me in Czech Republic, right? So I flew Bond over there. I did the BX, right?
You flew to Czech for a BH?
Yep. because because I have 4 dogs there, I can visit them at the same time.
Okay, all
I was
right.
like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I can
Okay.
get the title with
All
my
right.
dog, and I can visit my dogs as well, right?
Yeah.
Right away, he went to check for the BH because he's afraid he's gonna get beat in Quebec.
In a BH, there's no beat.
Yep.
You just get the title. Your dog can be
So-
half dead. You'll still
Yeah.
get the title.
So anyway, I came back. I came back and keep training. And then Ian's dad, Gary, he came and stayed with my house because he sold his house. And at the time, like the interest rate went up like crazy. So he said, okay, let's hold on. We're not buying anything yet, right? I said, come stay with me. So Paul Australia stayed there for a few months. He became my helper. So we worked with Bond again. And Bond was really good. You know, like now, I guess people agree with me now, right? He was really good. So for a first time handler, I was really confident. I booked his IGP 1 and 2 in 1 week.
Wait a second. Is Bond the first dog you trial?
Yep.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Right? So I booked the 1 and the 2 in 1 week. Right?
Uh-huh.
I flew over there, and now when I think about it, I'm telling you, man, if you go to Hollywood and you say, you know what, write me like the most perfect script for a dog in dog sport, they couldn't write this. Okay, so I said, I'm gonna fly to Czech Republic to do the 1 and the 2. Right? I never tried a dog before. Right? Now here, when you do a club trial, you have all the information. Okay, this is what we're gonna track on. This is what we're gonna do. We have trial practice and stuff like that. Okay, so I arrive on a Wednesday, right? Stay at my friend's house in a city away from Monica a little bit. We do some tracking, some obedience, whatever it is, and then I drove to Monica. We didn't know what we track on. We didn't know. I didn't even know where the club is.
Yeah.
So she drove me there on a Saturday morning.
Okay.
No trial practice.
Really?
Okay. No. Okay. So we went there, and the judge said, "Everybody follow me." So we just follow him to up the hill like this, and I'm telling you, horse shit everywhere. My first time ever as a handler, I step on the field. He tracked 100 points.
Wow. So it was a hay field or a dirt field?
It's a hay field, but it's go uphill and then it's like it's dry. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really bad, right? Came back. I think obedience was like 91, protection 95,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
A week later, tracking IGP2. Never had a truck helper. Never have a truck layer in his life,
Yes.
right? And somebody laid the track 98.
Yeah.
98, 90. He missed the jump on the way out. It could have been like 94, 95, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then 94 protection, right? And that is with the first time handler and never even no trial practice. And in Czech they do ABC in one morning.
Oh, really?
Then
All 3 phases.
there's no such thing as judge's dinner, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? They have some cookie, the coffee. You meet up, you go tracking, you come back, do obedience, take a little break, do the
Protection.
do the protection. And in the 2, oh yeah, the helper didn't show up. There's another helper show up. He was left-handed.
Okay, so he's catching on the right.
Yeah, so the dog didn't even practice for that.
It still did it.
So like 94 or something, right? So kept
All right, hold on.
Guys, this is my favorite training tool, the magnet ball. And they come in floating foam. Check out all our training gear at shieldcanine.ca.
This is crazy because I actually did not know this about. You know, it's funny. We just started hanging out, and I
Yep.
never even asked you like
Yep.
anything, and we're just like talking like we know each other.
Yep.
But really, it turns out I don't fucking know you whatsoever. So I did not know, number one, Bond is your first competition dog.
Yeah.
I knew he was from your breeding, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize this is only your second breeding, first competition dog, and that you had never trialed before.
Never.
Bro,
I-
like, do you realize how most of us, like, fuck up our first trials. The dog doesn't out. There's a problem in tracking.
Yep.
Like, this is pretty fucking wild shit.
Right? No, hold on. Like when we come back from the tour, I think it's in October. It's in October, right? And then we moved from Quebec to Ontario, right? In between, he had probably 2 protection sessions. Okay, I put him in the car. I drove for 10 hours to Virginia. Okay, again, no trial practice.
Virginia.
Virginia.
Okay.
Right. There's a friend there. His name is Abe. He has he's into shoreline, but he has a small club there, right?
Yeah.
Because my goal was like to be honest with you, like it's when you mentioned about the ego a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, you talk shit about me, I'm gonna beat you up, right? So I said I want to have the IGP3 when the dog is 2 years old. So
He wasn't even 2?
No.
Dear God.
He wasn't even 2. So he got the BX at 16 months. He got the 1 and the 2 when he was 20 months, right? And by 24 months, I was doing the I drove him all the way to Virginia on his birthday, and he got the IGP3 in Virginia 290, 99, 93, 98.
That's good.
Right?
Yes.
Hold on. People say, you know what? Maybe he went there maybe he bought the title. Okay, so I said, sure, no problem. I came back, I stayed quiet, right? 6 months later, I showed up at the Czech National,
That's a hard competition.
the capital of dog sport, right? I think the Czech National is only after the BSP,
Yeah.
right? With a 2.5-year-old, 91 dogs, 90 dogs, he beat 61 of them, right? The moment I came back here, people start talking like, still, it doesn't count. He has to try in Canada. And guess
There's
what?
no trial in Canada with 90 dogs.
Right?
Our national has between 20 and 30 dogs.
Right.
Never more.
Right? And then guess what? When they said that, I just said, you know what? I'm going to stay quiet, right? But they didn't even know that on my way, when I was flying to the Czech National, I entered the Canadian National. And he won it.
Yes, he did. I was there.
Right?
Yeah.
And he won it. So now when you look at for a dog resume with a first-time handler, that's why I said all the time, I'm just his shadow. How good is this dog? Right? Because, for example, I said all the time.
No. You cannot do that. The dog, for sure, it's a special dog. There's no 2 ways about it.
No.
It's a special combination of drive, nerves. He loves you. You have a good relationship. But you cannot say it's the dog. Only. Like, for sure, it's the handler and the dog. Like, it is not what you're describing, the training. You know how many people have nice dogs? They cannot make that level of training. You can't do that. You have to say it's both of us.
And you know what? When they went to the Czech National, I haven't done any routine from December to June. When I arrived there, David Hanno helped me with one routine, and he went in the stadium, and he did the IGP routine in the stadium.
Guys, you don't understand. Like, if you don't do dog sport, what he's describing, the dog is really fucking special.
Yep.
Like, most dogs need a lot of, like, acclimation. You go to a new place, you can't just go on trial. Like, you have to prepare the dog, acclimate, training sessions, lots of things before you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew your dog is, like, good, but I didn't realize, like...
But now when I think about it, right?
It's crazy.
So for example, let's say I said to my wife the other day, because let's say I try his sister, I think probably a couple of months back.
Okay.
Birkin. That was the second dog that, I do the IGP title, right?
Yes.
The second dog. And I said, oh my God, like, I have become weaker. Before I was so brave. Before I was like, I'm gonna fucking fly there. I don't care what I'm gonna track on.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna be like, what are we tracking on? Can we practice on this? When is try practice? When is this and when is that? Right?
Yeah.
I have become weaker, but hey man, 97, 96, and 100.
With the female.
Yep.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
But like I said, I said to my wife, I said, how did Bond do it? Because now as I go, I look back, right? There's so many things I was missing back then.
Well, that's where you would say he's a special dog.
Yep.
But still, now you made the same with the sister.
Yep.
You have to say, like, for sure, I've watched you train too. We cannot discount the handler. It's definitely a combination of dog and handler, but it's very, very impressive. I don't know of anyone, and I'm not saying this to pump his tires, like, in my heart of heart, I like to always think I'm the best. That's me being honest. Ann Lee has surpassed me in such a significant way. First dog from his breeding, Czech nationals, Canadian national champion, Canadian vice champion. Jesus Christ, man. I did not know that was your first dog.
Yep. No,
I thought you'd been doing it for a while.
no, because I remember the first time I met you and you said, "Oh yeah, you training." I thought you thought I was from Europe,
Well, yeah, because you were dealing with the Europeans a lot.
right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because for example, let's say when people say all the crazy things about me, and these are my neighbors next door in the same province from these clubs, the Europeans welcoming me.
Really?
Right? Because, so for example, let's say I have a really good friend in Belgium, Tessa Ote, right? I was talking to her, and I remember when Bond was like 8, 9 weeks old, I started posting all the puppy videos, right? And then she followed Bond, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm your biggest fan and everything." And I think she won the Belgium championship twice. And I was like, oh, come on, man, stop talking like that. You're the champion, not me. And I remember she told me, you will be. Right? That means a lot to me.
For sure.
Right? Maybe if she didn't say that, I probably wouldn't win. Because the confidence, the encouragement,
Yes.
sometimes just a little bit, it goes a long way.
For sure.
Right? For example, let's say AJ Singh. So, for example, I don't know if you know him.
I know him on
Okay,
Facebook,
he's a very well respected breeder in the U.S. and very nice man and everything. Now, again, I would like to spread this message to everyone in the dog sport. Okay, so I try to email and call every breeder that I could find online in Canada and in the U.S. None of them answer me. And then I call AJ. His wife took my number. He called me back. Started out with, I don't have any litter on the ground, so there's no money involved there. And he stayed on the phone with me for an hour.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. That's significant.
Yeah, and I will never forget that. So that's why I know how it feels with a inexperienced handler.
Yes.
Right? And what we can do to empower them. That is very, very important.
I'm still trying to get past the fact that this is your first fucking dog.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. Like, I'm just kind of like, I knew you were good, but god damn, man, that's too much, man. That's your first dog. I don't know. To me, it's like, man, get the fuck out of here. I don't even want to talk to you anymore.
No, man, that's why I say even Hollywood couldn't write this.
No, well, when you win the WSV, then
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Then I'm gonna say, hey, I know that guy that won the WSV. I hope Ann still takes my calls after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not though.
No,
Like, you know what, I'm too much of a big deal for you now.
I'm always the same, buddy. Always the same. That is the thing. To me, it's like about the.
Well, okay, we're talking about how unwelcoming, and this is a problem that the IGP club system has. And I think it's a problem that we need to address, and we will address it when we are in a position that we can address it in this sport, because the club system needs to change. There's no two ways about it. So, as with many new handlers, you dealt with a lot of skeptics, a lot of naysayers, a lot of people that said terrible things about you. I know this for a fact because before the nationals in New Brunswick, not this last nationals,
Yep.
the nationals before, I had heard
Yep.
a lot of things that were not good
Yep.
said by people, and I kind of remained neutral, and I said, I'll see the guy. And then we met, and I was like, nah. I saw the dog, I saw the work, I saw and I met you and I talked to you, and I was like, nah, I don't believe any of that shit they're saying about this guy. But I think, of course, whenever people talking about you, it's because they're threatened by you.
Yeah, but also this is what I believe, okay? And I think like after, I was young once and very like hot-headed and this and that, right? But as I lived and I faced those, like gossip and criticism, and you know what? Nobody is right all the time, and the dead clock is right twice a day.
Yes.
Right? So when people has an opinion about me, now this is my first reaction. I just said, you know what? Maybe you're right. What's the worst you can do? If you had an opinion about me, right? And if it's right, and if I take it, I'm only gonna get better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I find that life is a lot simpler, and you're a lot happier and maybe more successful that way. Right?
I agree. Like, you always have to be open that you're not doing it the best way, and that people's criticisms of you, even if they have a malicious intent towards you,
Yeah.
even if they're not themselves maybe a
Yeah.
good person or they don't want the best for you, sometimes the things they say about you are actually true to some level.
Yep.
And taking that in is only going to make you
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt you, to
Yeah.
say, well, you know what? I don't like this guy. He's an asshole, but the thing he's saying in this specific instance is
Yeah.
actually maybe true,
Yeah.
and maybe I need to work to fix that
Yeah,
situation.
like for some there's someone who's famous make a comment about my dog's transitions at the national last time,
Yes.
right? Can it hurt me? No,
No.
because if any, it might get me 4 points.
Yeah.
I should wait for another second,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I take it easy, man. Like and again, like I'm thankful that I was a little bit mad, that it forced me to step on the field and compete.
Well, I
Right.
like a little anger. I like a little adversity, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to people feeling a certain kind of way about me and saying whatever they say. So I appreciate what you're saying, because I heard stuff about you. I know you heard stuff about me.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, how did we establish mutual respect?
Yep.
We stepped on the field. We train. We see that. I say, oh, my, this An Lee guy's serious. Like, he's out there. He's
Yeah.
training. You saw the same. And here we are.
And that's the beauty of IGP, because number one is that only an actual try that it will show all the holes in your training.
Very true.
Right. That's number one. Number two is that the result will disprove any gossip about you.
Yes.
So if somebody is doing something so wrong, how could the dog work like that?
That's very true.
Because let's like this, okay? Like Asian culture. I was the only son in the family. My dad was like, "You never get on the horse." He didn't allow me to ride out.
Ride the horse.
Yep, he didn't want me to. Because if something happened to me, there's no.
Oh, there's no air.
Yep. Okay. So what did I do? I remember get up early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, ride a bicycle for an hour to the barn before everybody's there. Get on the horse to ride them around. There was one time I fell off the horse, hang on to it, and the horse dragged me on the
Ground.
paved road, and like all the skin on my back was like peeled off. Right. But what I also learned is that later, any discipline that I learned. So now, for example, let's say I was a professional coach for show jumping and dressage, right? And guess what? I never had a coach myself.
Yeah.
So everything I do is very simple. So let's say if I want to do another sport tomorrow, whatever field, right? So I would go home and I'm gonna type. So for example, when I started IGP, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna type best chosen dog ever, right? The most accomplished one.
Okay.
And I look at the dog and I say, what does that dog have that my dog doesn't? And I will break it down in small pieces and try to achieve that, right? So because, and it sounds like how said, it doesn't sound very logical, but it's the truth, and that is everything that is right, it is beautiful. So, for example, let's say when a scientist tries to prove something about the universe, they will always ask the question, why is it so beautiful? And then they work from there, and usually they find the answer.
Yes.
Right? Beauty is. So now, when you ride horses, right? I don't care what you do. If you look really ugly in the horse, you're doing something wrong,
Yes.
right? Simple as that, right?
Yes.
Because I remember my dad when he was the president of the racetrack, he was teaching the riders to become jockey, right? And at the end of the classes, like graduation, right? He brought me there. There's a little ceremony and everything, right? But every year, he always write is that the first time these kids come in, get on the horses, he already knew who will become the best one,
Really?
right? Because the way they get on the horse for the very first time, even though the horse standing still, how pretty they look,
Interesting.
they're gonna do well later, right? You never see an Olympic winner that looks really ugly on a horse,
Never. No, that's true.
right? And also, when you do it wrong, believe me, you know it.
Yes. It feels wrong.
It's not gonna work, right?
Yes. Yes.
So to me, that's the same thing with dogs, right? So when you're healing and you struggle and the dog come across you, you could barely walk. Now what does it tell you,
It doesn't feel right.
right?
It doesn't look good.
Yeah. So the look and the method go hand in hand. Well, so again, now you're like this. Okay, I don't care. I don't care what people said about me or how I train my dogs or how my dogs look like. Right. Right. That's what I love about the actual trials. When you get on the field,
Yes.
it exposes everything.
Well, the great thing about trials, guys, and just to make this clear for those of you that aren't dog sport insiders, is that you're on the field, you've got no tool on your dog, you've got no ball to reward your dog, no food to reward your dog, no tool to correct your dog. It's just you, the dog, and the task in front of you, whether it's a track, whether it's obedience, or whether it's protection. And it's all there for everybody to see. And there's no more helping, there's no more pretending. It is what it is.
Yeah, and it's like, again, beauty has a lot to do with it. So for example, let's say last regional, I entered my young dog. You saw him the other day, Killian.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it was a little bit over his head.
Yeah.
Right? He was too young. It's a big event in a massive field at top, right?
Yes.
So I started out, I went to the long down, healing beautifully, picked him up, make the right turn towards the start. I lost him a little bit.
Yeah.
And right at that moment, I say, right now, I don't care about the dog anymore. I just have to look pretty. Right? I just move on. I look where I go. I'm extremely confident. I like everything is perfect. I literally tell myself, we look so great right now. I don't even care about the dog anymore. And Edgar Poto, like, I love this dog. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we won the heavy action.
Yes. Yes.
But I lost the dog.
Yeah.
Right? So the how's it the visual part in competition is very important. So that's why I always say, I say even in protection, that's why I work a lot on the blind search and the bark and hold
Yeah.
in the blind, right? Because that's the first impression you make on the judge,
It's very true.
right?
Yeah.
So you learned it first and last time,
I
right?
know.
When the dog start to miss a ply or two, the judge had a different impression on your dog,
Yes. It's terrible.
right?
You want fast, aggressive
Right,
blinds.
look in every ply, come in, starting in barking immediately, getting that perfect, rhythmic barking,
Yes.
fast call out.
Yeah.
After that, the judge will forgive you a lot later.
Yes. It's
Right.
true.
Right. First impression.
It's true. So, okay. Did you learn, like, did you figure it out exclusively on your own to train dogs? Or did you get help from anybody to teach you, like, okay, look, you're a horse guy. You've got this dog. It's a good dog. You want to train now IGP. You want to train healing. You want to train, all the motion exercises, the dumbbells, protection. Did anyone help you or did you do it all on your own?
Pretty much all on my own. So it's go like this. Okay, I also believe in consistency and common sense, right? So whatever it is, if you feel that is wrong,
Yes.
right? It doesn't feel right at all. Probably find another method, right? So it goes like this. Okay, so we talk about tracking, right? So let me think about it. Probably she is 5. That dog, that Ralph Gilby competed with Daddy Fatimona.
The female.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old is that dog now? I think she's 5.
Okay.
She's 5. Okay. I have a little May at the time. She's still with me. The little May. And when she was 13 months, I didn't know anything about tracking. So 4 years ago, I didn't know anything about tracking. Right? So I went online and I typed, okay, shoes and tracking. So it came up with a video, right? I ordered it. And it's from Godfrey Dilda.
I watched that video.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get it from Godfrey Dilda, and then I truck on the snow. People were making fun of me, right?
Yes.
People were making fun of me, but I have some good friends. So for example, let's say Mark Christian from Germany. He's a really good friend. The problem is that he doesn't speak English, so he will talk to me through Google Translate, right? So about the coaching and how to say it, explaining, he's not so great.
Yes.
But all he could tell me, like, it's good
Or it's not good.
or it's not good.
So you're Christian Mike?
No, Mark Christian.
Mark?
Mark Christian was EX owner. He won a BSP.
Oh, okay.
And he's also a judge in Germany.
Okay.
Right? So he helped me a lot in the sense that it was like this. Okay? I sent him the video and I said, I was so proud of my healing, and I said, and no good, the tail is too quiet.
Ah.
Then I had to figure it out on my own, how to make the tail active. Right? And then, of course, like experienced people, when I talk to AJ Singh, for example, like, and the same thing, I say, okay, you know what? Bond, he's starting to shoot the corners a lot.
Yeah.
What do I do? Should I put pressure? Should I do this? Should I do that? And he said, no, just do more corners. Right? And I have that with me until today.
Patience.
Right? Yep.
Application.
Yeah. And watch around and learn.
So the Godfrey Dildai tracking videos, I remember I watched them. I can't even remember when I watched them. It's basically he's tracking on dirt with dogs every footstep except on trial day, basically.
Yeah, so he foot in every step, right?
Yes.
6 weeks out before the IGP one, skip the first leg only,
Yes.
and then go back to fully baited and just go in.
But see, that makes sense from a classical conditioning standpoint.
The dog doesn't even know any other way to do it.
They only know one way.
Right.
And then in the first leg, that's when in the trial the dog is going to see a first leg with no food. Well, he's going to see all of it with no food, but that first leg is going to determine how it goes. He's going to do that first leg and he's going to be like, "Oh my God, I've never been here before. There's no food." He'll panic. Or, "Oh yeah, I've been here before in training, The next few legs, there will
there
be
will
food.
be anyway.
There
So
will
get
be.
the dog to the end.
Yes, just
right?
keep going.
Right, and then
It's smart and simple.
Lost Lens, right? The trucking guru,
Yes.
right? It's funny because when I talked to him, a lot of people said, "You're training with Lost. You train Lost system."
Yeah.
I never met a guy,
Yeah.
and I sent him a message one. I say, "Stop doing this because I just keep stealing stuff from you, right?"
Uh,
What I find that is the his
oppositional pressure
yep.
into the
When he
footstep.
put it straight up to fight down there,
Yes.
I stole it and it was awesome.
To be honest, I did steal that too.
yeah. It was really, really good.
Yes.
Right. And then, the tries help you, right?
Yes.
So one thing at a time, when I went to the Czech National, it was alfalfa, right? And it was a really long track. And to be honest with you, until today, I think Bond deserve a lot more than that, right? But I got 88 at Czech National. I wouldn't complain, at a big event like that.
Yeah.
But he get to the point of, okay, the track was too easy,
Yes.
right? So he gotta lose intensity a little bit.
Yes.
And then I watched the guy next to me, like Marek Cherney, right? He got 98, right? That even though it's easy, the dog wouldn't make a mistake.
Yes.
So I said, okay, my dog was too free.
Yes.
And that's what I told you last year at the national tour. I said, your
You
dog
did
is
tell
too
me
free,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, okay? So you get system like Godfrey did. I get the dog into the perfect, methodical style, right? And then you get Last Lens to put, to drive the dog more power into it, right? And then guys like top competitors like Marek Cherney is gonna be like, okay, now not only that, a bit more strict now. You can't make mistake, buddy, right? And then you learn from your own. So I remember last regional, right? And there's some story behind it. I don't think that the score reflects his ability at all. But I remember the last tracking video that I posted on Facebook. Last Land came in and said it was too easy, right? And now when you think about it, okay, how could a dog lose a track? It can detect cancer in your blood.
Yeah.
And how can the dog miss the footstep right in front of him?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you can explain to that is they being careless,
Yes.
right? And making the track too easy is one of the reasons that the dog become careless.
This is why you can't do it exclusively motivationally.
Yep.
Because if there's just motivation,
Mhm.
the dog might be motivated, but
Yeah.
they will be careless.
Right. Yep.
And that's my problem a bit on the track is my dog is highly motivated, but
Yep.
it makes him a bit careless.
Well, classical conditioning and like motivational tracks. When you put a lot of food and stuff like that. So, for example, to me, the ability to pick up food in every step is extremely important for the dog.
Yes.
So if I can challenge the dog for 1,000 paces, but if the next with no food, right? But if the next day the dog walk by the food, I'm in trouble,
Yes.
right? Because that is gonna give me a much harder time to modify anything.
Yes.
So, for example, let's say if I have a dog that eat every step, right? I go for 800 paces with no food, and then I go back with food, and the dog's still eating it. What does that tell me? Is that later, if I want to change the speed a little bit, I can put some pressure and make sure that and the dog have the food to recover.
Yes.
But once they start running past food,
That's a
that's
big
a harder time because now you have to use a lot more pressure,
Yes.
right? And the dog gets nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
Eventually they quit.
I've always, of course, used food on my tracking, but you've definitely convinced me to go back to using more than I typically used. I mean, I was always of the opinion, okay, well, we're trial prepping, and in the trial, there was going to be a long time with no food, and the dog needs to be able to deal with this. But balancing that with the vast majority of the tracks having tons and tons of food, I think there's validity to that. It keeps obviously you proved it with your dog, but there's validity to it. It keeps the dog slow, keeps the dog methodical if you're balancing it with pressure.
Because and this is true. Okay, when people say, "Hey, your dog's just eating, he's not tracking," right? It's a very, very valid argument,
Yeah.
right? And I give them that. But my argument is, I don't need to train the dog's nose, right? Everybody knows how powerful a dog nose is.
Yes.
I train the style, right? So that is the first thing Godfrey did that I mentioned in his video. And again, guess the first scene, one of the people was tracking in that video. Guess who?
Joanne.
No, Lance Collins.
Is it Lance
Yep.
Collins? I know Joanne. Joanne was in
Lance was in that video, right?
Oh yeah.
So IGP, we're training for the style, right?
Yes.
And you know what? The more you look at every exercise in Schutzen, and you say, how smart were the founding fathers of the sport and the breed?
It has a huge impact. It means a lot.
They're really smart because they said, you know what? The tracking, why do we need to test the nose?
All dogs can track.
Right? Now we testing, well, obviously the skill of the trainer,
Yes.
but also can the dog take it?
Yes, the pressure, the
Right?
adversity of tracking like that, and we know
Right.
many dogs
Right.
cannot.
So if the dog can take it and excel in tracking, it passes on to the offspring, and the offspring can do search and rescue, can do
Yes.
hard surface tracking. They can run. It doesn't matter,
Yes.
right?
So just to be clear, guys, in the last national, I lost 10 points in tracking. I got a 90 with Gage because on 2 corners he sped up, right? So he took the corner and he sped up, and then at one time he bothered an article. So just to be clear, my dog did the whole track. It was like, well, I don't know, 500-600 paces. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty long though.
Like 5 corners.
I think at least 600.
Yeah, 600 paces, 5 corners. Okay. My dog did the whole track, indicated all 3 articles. I lost 10 points and got a 90 out of 100 instead of 100 out of 100 because my dog had speed fluctuations on the track and bothered an article. That's how specific IGP is. It's not, can you get to the end?
Yep.
It's, can you get to the end the best,
Yep.
the most consistent, the most perfect, the most detailed picture.
Yep. Because it's funny because, we call it tracking, right? And sometimes I have some friends from Czech, right? When they write something about their tracking, and when you click on the translation to
Yes.
English, right? It's called the footstep tracking.
Yes.
It's so clear. It's a lot clearer than our language here,
Yes.
right? You have to search every footstep
Yes.
because it shows that the dog can take the training and do that style,
Yes.
right? It shows that the dog is beatable. The point of tracking for Schutzen is not about to train the nose to search,
Yes.
right? When a puppy survives the first 10 days in the whelping box, it has an awesome nose already. Why do you need to test it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And when you think about it, when we talk about the founding fathers of the breed too, so for example, I do believe that, okay, so one of the problem of correction to a dog, like, when the dog doing something wrong, you're like, hey, stop that, and you correct that behavior, right? It's not as good as if you can direct that correction into something else immediately.
Yeah.
So they put the drive towards that, right?
Yeah.
Because the dog's brain, it works better to go from one behavior to another as opposed to being restrained
Yes.
or being stopped.
Yes.
So as a pet dog, you see people all the time, no, stuff like that, right? Now you see in IGP, when the dog is guarding, when you come up to the dog, you don't have the stop barking command. You can only say sit.
Yes. Put your ass down, stop that instead of
Right?
just telling him no.
So the founding fathers, they understood the dog's canine behavior. It was better to go from one behavior to another. It's a lot smoother, right? Now you think about it.
I would say
There's
from
no stopping that.
From an obedience standpoint, yes. From a behavioral standpoint, I would disagree. From a behavioral standpoint, for me, a lot of people seek alternate behaviors. So let's say you get a dog, your typical pet dog.
Mm-hmm.
He's barking at everybody.
No.
I don't give him an alternate behavior. Not yet.
Mhm.
First thing I say, hey, No more of this.
Yep.
You don't bark at people anymore. I focus on this first. You don't bark at people anymore. Then I say, okay, you understand this. You understand. You must not bark.
Yep.
Now I will teach you whatever else I want you to know to do instead of that. But in the beginning, I punish the behavior, but I'm not doing obedience.
Yeah. No, but that's what we do with our IGP dog too, right? So from the beginning, as they guard, right?
Yes.
And you say sit, they're gonna keep barking.
Oh, for sure.
Right,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna apply the same correction, but the idea is still try to get to the point when it's smooth like that, right? So for example, let's say if the dog barking at the door,
Yeah.
say hey, place,
Sure.
right? Maybe that is the finished product. So from the
Yes.
beginning, you still have to get right on top of that behavior because it's clear to the dog from that part.
Yes, that's different. For
Yep.
me, that would be different. Like, there's some behaviors for me, I classify them as stimulus response. Like, okay, someone knocks the door. Fuck it, every dog's gonna bark.
Yep.
No problem, whatever.
Yep.
Place whatever you want to come up with to interrupt the behavior and sidetrack the dog
Yep.
into something productive. That's not for me. I'm talking like behavior. And this is something that I know a lot of sport handlers may be like, oh, my dog's dog aggressive, my dog's whatever. I deal with a lot of handlers, like their dogs are like dog aggressive and stuff. Like, you guys don't know how to fix this? Like, it's easy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I'm not going to tell you to do something else. You are not allowed to be dog aggressive. I'm going to put you in situations where you can be dog aggressive. I'm going to show you. This is mine. This is what I do. If you do it, God help you.
Yeah.
It's bad. And I do that first. And then I'll say, okay, foos.
Yeah.
But first, you must know never to be dog aggressive. You're not. It's not possible.
Yeah.
If you are, there's consequence. Then only once the dog is like, okay, this behavior, I cannot express it. But this is, of course, for very specific things,
Yep.
not for like obedience.
Yep.
This is
No, like they get right on top of that, right? So it's a lot clearer for the dog, right?
Yes.
Like like okay, that's a no for the bark there. I'm talking about more about the finished product of
Obedience.
a well-trained dog.
Obedience. Like making behaviors, making behavior chains.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Transition, right?
Yes.
Right, because when you look at the whole protection routine,
Yes.
it's transitions,
Yes.
non-stop.
Yes.
Right.
Constantly.
Right.
Yes. Barking, biting, obedience.
Yeah. Prey, defense.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess where we're at right now is number one. It's funny, I like again to ask questions for the first time in the podcast because it's like if I already knew all of this stuff, it wouldn't be half as interesting. I'm still kind of blown away that it's your first dog. I'm blown away that you pretty much, obviously, input whatever. You're self-taught. I always kind of prided myself on being quite self-taught, but you're a lot more self-taught, I would say, even than me. And for a lot less period of time. And you've accomplished so much with your dog. And I think you're going to accomplish a lot more. And that's pretty freaking impressive, man. Like, that I don't know of anybody else in Canada that's done what you've done.
So let me tell you this, okay? So Ik and Dora, okay. So Ik, when he came over, of course he won the BSB, right?
Yes.
And Dora, she had an IGP too. So I got the dog out, okay, and I tried to teach the dog to do the flat retrieve with the dumbbell, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I brought the dog in and I say, Ik, can you come help me? So I throw the dumbbell, right? And he like, bam, come right back, sit perfect, hold calm. It's like, okay, this is how it's supposed to feel. Now I was on my own. How to get there, I was on my own.
Yeah. But you saw it.
I saw the finished product.
You took your experienced dog.
How a BSP winner looked like.
Yes.
So it's hard for the dogs in the house, but it's also a blessing, is that because that's my standard. Right? So from the very beginning, he is the standard.
I like that.
He's my best teacher though.
Is he still alive?
Yep.
Really?
11 and a half, run like the wind.
Still healthy, still moving around.
Yep.
Nice. I've seen a fair few dogs from Irk. I've mentioned him before in the podcast and stuff, and I've liked just about every dog I saw off of him.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those studs that really passes himself. There's a lot of studs that maybe have nice pedigrees or they have a lot of hype, but I don't feel like they really pass themselves along.
Yeah.
This he definitely passes
Yeah.
himself.
So you see, like when I do my protection routine, instead of saying Ravier, I say Forat
Yes.
for the plicers, right? When I pick up the dog to go to the side transport, I don't go around the helper, but I just flip back to the side next to the helper.
Yeah.
All of that is because of his influence.
Yes. What he did.
What he did,
Yes.
I it feels special for me when I had a competition and I see those same word, I feel like like there's something about him with me.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely very interesting. He had an impact on breeding here in Canada, and there's a lot of puppies of his still running around. So.
Yeah, and I always said that the mother has a bigger impact on the puppies, right?
Yes.
But I think not in his case, man.
No, that's a truly great stud that they can overcome a female.
Yeah. Like, so for example, let's say Rocky, Jim Benning's dog, right?
Yeah.
And Anna's my female Anna. Now I have a born son,
Yeah.
which is his grandson.
Yes.
They all have the same face and the same marking. Even all the marking around the eyes look exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's amazing how strong, how dominant his gene is, and I'm the big believer that the mother gives more.
For sure.
Right.
A lot of people believe that, but I have seen males like your dog that really can stamp themselves, and for me, that's a truly great stud. Is the male that can put himself in the puppies.
Yeah, and also there's another thing too, and that is and I understand that people are happy about it, but when someone make a post that okay, my dog is healthy because he has normal hips and elbows, right?
Yes.
And I said, no, that's just good joints,
Yes.
good hips, good elbows.
Yeah.
Healthy, it takes a long time for you to determine that. To me, for a dog that okay, I have never have to bring him to see a vet, right?
Yeah.
Besides vaccines,
Yes.
right? And he's 11 and a half now and still running like that. Now that's health.
No food issues, no teeth issues,
Yeah.
everything.
And on that note, Dora is doing the same thing,
Yeah.
right? My female, she's 11 and a half too,
Nice.
right?
Yeah, that's very impressive. So, we know you're going to the WSV.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about that you have in your mind for the future with your dogs?
Well, the WSV is the ultimate goal if you have a German Shepherd, right?
Yes.
And of course, going there with the first dog that I title, it is a big deal,
Huge deal.
right? I have always had, and I don't know if when you compete against me, if you notice this is that I'm extremely, extremely humble everywhere else until I step into the field. Right. That's when I'm gladiator, man. There's no stress, no pressure there. Right.
It's a good mindset.
Yeah. I take all the time I need. I think it's very simple. I pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. And again, all the training is done. Try to look as relaxed, as pretty as possible. Every step. I even walk differently when I walk the dog than when I walk alone.
Sure.
Right. Enjoy your time there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And
show up and show out.
Yeah. May the best dog win.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's a very, very good dog. So I mean, you saw him track. You saw the result. You saw the protection. You know, thanks to the little criticism there. So I make sure he's gonna have the transition there. So it's gonna be good. The obedience, he's always in the low 90s, right? So let's say if everything goes well and you V in the other two, you have low 90s here,
you could be on the podium.
In contention, right?
Yes.
But there's also, of course, there's a little bit here and there you can try to improve a little bit.
Always.
Right?
If you can get one more point.
Right? So if you can improve a little bit.
Yeah.
And, if it's your day, who knows?
That's right.
Right? It's the numbers game.
Yes.
right? At the end of the day, like,
Oh yeah.
like even like last time, like he could have won the whole thing. He missed a sit. He finished second, but that's fine because the thing is that the if we keep saying what if, everybody can say that,
Yeah.
right? Because what if he's sad, but what if Lance's dog didn't get up from the set? Now the result can be the same.
That's the game,
Right.
man. Trial day,
Right.
like things happen, and you end up where you end
That's
up.
part of the game, right?
Yes.
But and just gotta be positive about it. Maybe now because he always sat for me before, so it took me by surprise. That reason I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be like like I was struggling to walk. My body language was not the same. The field was covered with water. Whatever it is, he can come in with the protection mode. Whatever it is, a little bit of this and that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Overall, I'm still really happy. You missed the sit and it's still 89, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but on hindsight, it makes me more cautious for the WSB. So maybe you never know.
You never
If
know.
he beat the other two, I don't mind helping him in a sit.
There's no dog that's
Right.
100%.
Yep.
They all make mistakes. They all have a good day and a bad day. And that's one thing I learned. Look, I went into that trial. I said, I don't know what Chico's going to do, but I know what Gage is going to do. This is what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Here's what, and he surprised me in protection.
Yep.
And
You
this
know?
is what happens.
Mhm.
And I learned, I'm like, oh, and same for me. I got the FCI Worlds. I'm like, man, I really hope he searches those
Yep.
blinds. Like he's searching the blinds in training,
Yep.
but I don't know what's going to happen. And,
Yeah.
but that's part of it is like, you're never quite sure.
Yeah.
It's never 100%.
No, I think you're gonna do well with the FCI. The way he tracked there, and if the condition is exactly the same what we saw in the picture there,
Yeah.
you will do well on the track.
I hope so. And
Right.
the big thing, of course, is the stadium, the obedience.
His obedience is pretty good though. He's pretty consistent. In his
Obedience, he's pretty
yeah.
consistent. If I can have the same performance in obedience. Protection now, before I used to be like, yeah, I know protection, what it's going to be. I hope we're going to go back to the old gauge for protection.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
Right. And that is another thing I would like to bring to the table for the organization is that how can we make the sport financially healthy?
We should never be scared of money. We should understand that money, I would say, money is a tool.
Yeah.
You can either use it as a tool
Yeah.
in order to achieve your ends. You can use it for good things. You can use it to grow. You can use it to develop and to make things better.
Yeah.
Or you can be consumed by it.
Yeah.
And I find that people that are often afraid of money are people that don't understand money, or people that perhaps have a deep level of inherent
Yeah.
greed, and let's say they're projecting that inherent greed onto others. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure having my friend Ann Lee here. We're going to continue, I think, to train together.
Yep. All right, man. Anytime.
I'm wishing you much success at the WUSV.
You too at the FCI, man. Yep.
And I wanna see you again on the field, my friend.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, guys, that was Ann Lee. We're going to put his information down below.